Hey friends, Powwow guy Rob Phoenix here. Hope you're all having a great day. Just wanted to pop in quick and talk to you about uh, different kinds of rocks or stones used in the tradition of powwow. Um, you don't find a lot of crystals and precious gemstones and such like that in the powwow tradition. However, a lot of that is within Christian folk magic in the broader sense. But that's a discussion for another video. But today, what I want to talk to you about is just some of the very basic uses that we use for stones, what we might call them, what kind of a stone we might use, and so forth. So the um, the first type of stone we use is what's called a bloodstone. A bloodstone is basically just a rock we pick up from the ground, and we use it when we're trying to stop bleeding. There is a popular powwow remedy or prescription or charm, whatever you want to call it, that utilizes a stone that says the water is mud and runs a flood, so does thy blood. God bade it stand, so it did, in the name of Father, Son, Holy Ghost. And then you can touch the wound that's bleeding or place the rock there and hold it until the bleeding stops. Over time, if you use the same stone over and over again, which it's not very sanitary, but if you do, it eventually starts to become stained with blood. I think for something like that, it's best as a one-time use and then toss it in a river or something just to get rid of it and let nature reclaim it and clean it and such. So that would be a bloodstone for stopping blood. Easy enough. There's also what's called a pain stone or a rest stone. This would be a flat rock. Generally speaking, ideally you would find this along a fence row or along a hedge row in kind of a in-between kind of situation. So if the individual is having trouble sleeping, you place this stone under the pillow. Or if they're having pain of some sort, you also place this under the pillow. And as they sleep, this absorbs the inability to sleep. It gives them rest. It absorbs their pain. And then the next day, the stone is placed outside where it'll get sunlight and the elements and such to sort of like clean it, I guess, reset it for future use. So you can use the same stone over and over again. Ideally you want a smooth flat stone because it will be placed under a pillow, and just something you find along a fence row, hedge row, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's the rest stone or the pain stone. Something called a black stone. Now this is a polished, smoothly polished black stone. I actually forget the kind of stone this is, but anyway, it's naturally a black rock. It could just be a type of river rock, but it's polished and such. The reason I chose this one to use as my black stone is because it's used to remove negativity, like evil curses and such that are put upon somebody, and is shaped like an egg, and eggs are also used in the same way. So I really like this one. The idea is that it's rubbed along the body to remove that evil influence, then placed in like a natural body of water, like a river, a pond, a lake, a stream, that sort of thing. But I use this over and over again. So the best thing to do would be to put it in a pouch like this, put it in there and suspend it on string to be washed in the water. But you can just kind of fish it out the next day or whatever. So that is the black stone used to remove curses, evil, negativity, and such with. Another thing I want to talk to you about is something called a mad stone. A mad stone is to remove rabies or poisonous or venomous venom or poison caused by bites. All right, so it's called the mad stone. It's not really a rock. It is a calcinated, like calcium formed in the stomach of a deer. So it's pretty obscure, tricky to get unless you know a deer processor. And this is what they look like. They look like almost like bits of dead coral or something. They're very porous and usually white and gray in color. And they're placed on the bite and held there, and it absorbs the poison, the venom, that sort of thing. And then again, these are washed in a natural body of water. If you know a deer processor, you can get one. Otherwise, I suppose you could use coral. although you're not really allowed to have coral, so because it chips away at like a natural ecosystem. So anyway, it always reminded me of in Harry Potter where they had a bezoar, which was a stone from the stomach of a goat, which would absorb poison. So this is along the same thing. The mad stone from a stomach of a deer, it's just this porous bunch of calcium and placed on a poisonous bite. And then the final thing you might hear of is what's called a lightning stone. Now, the lightning stone is the most vague. It's a stone used to protect your home from lightning. Or it's called a thunderstone sometimes too. Thunderstone or lightning stone. To protect your property from lightning. Now, there's no real guideline onto what they should be. Some people think it should be a piece of petrified wood, just place somewhere on your property. What we have is actually a piece of it's a chunk of sand that was struck by lightning and turned into a type of glass. So it's a pretty big piece. You see, isn't that cool? So it's just like a chunk of sand struck by lightning, turned into this sort of like chunk of glass. So this sits in our garden, and I consider that to be what's like our thunder or lightning stone to help protect our property from that. There's another type of stone that I wanted to talk about, which I don't have one. I used to have one, but I lost it. And I have not found one since. It's a stone that has a natural hole straight through it. And the idea is that those stones can be protected, but you're also supposed to be able to look through them to see the spirit world. Like if you believe there are ghosts or demons or specters around you, through that hole, you're supposed to be able to look through and be able to see those entities. Like I said, I currently don't have one of those, but you're more likely to find those in maybe a riverbed or something, because that's really how that would naturally form, probably the easiest, by water. So those are just some of the rocks and stones that you use. My over generalized rule of thumb is if you need a rock for something, just pick one up off the ground, use it, and then discard it. Like we could toss it in a river or a fish pond in the yard or whatever. But if you want to keep various stones set aside just for those purposes, you can do that too. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you learned something from that. And that's it. God bless you guys. Love you. And let's talk soon.